Hi everyone, welcome to the Mayor's Table. On today's episode, we're talking about art. Art is such an important component of the initiatives that we've created here in the city of Farmington to beautify our community, to attract new people to it, and just add that special component that creates an ambience, as Bev Taylor will say today in our show, that makes people feel good about where they live. So join me, Bev Taylor, and Flo Trujillo as we talk about art in downtown Farmington. Hey everyone, Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett, thank you for joining us today on the Mayor's Table. Spring is on its way and it's a great time to get outside and get downtown for some amazing events and things that are happening. And with me today are two of our community's long-standing advocates, catalysts for art, for all the amazing things that we're trying to work together in downtown. So with me today I have Bev Taylor with 302 Artifacts, also San Juan College board member, artiste, Tara's mom.
Tennille's mom.
Tennille's mom. So many great things. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, and I have Flo Trujillo, who is with the Northwest New Mexico Arts Council. Also 30 years working with the city of Farmington and just a tremendous advocate for all the great energy and things that we're doing in our downtown area. So thank you both for being here.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Well, I thought it'd be great just to have you on, talk about things that are going on in your worlds. I mean, there's been a lot of art projects and things that have happened here over the last, since I've at least been paying attention, but I know they've gone on for a lot longer than that. So maybe we could get some history on art in downtown and just in general the importance of why we are promoting art here in Farmington. That sound great?
Sure.
I love it.
Sure. You want me to start?
Let's kick it off. Yeah.
Well, one of the interesting points we were discussing on our paperwork here was kind of the history of art in our community. And I got a little nostalgic because I got to thinking about, there was a group of ladies in town called the LLs. And they were just a bunch of wonderful women who were professional, some of them just dabblers, but they just loved to get together and paint. And when I say these names, you will get nostalgic also. Kathy Walling, Jane Clayton, Loretta Lauder, Marilyn Campbell, Nancy Brewer. Those are just the ones that I could
some great names
come
there.
up with off the top of my head. And they were wonderful artists. And they got together, I can't remember if it was once a week or every month or whatever, but they would get together and have lunch and paint and chat, and then they'd have shows. And Sue Johnson, who is at the gallery downtown also, was part of that group. Anyway, great artists. And I think that they had enough support in town for their art and they were good enough that people bought it. and I don't mean that in a bad way, but that people began to recognize here good art and the value of good art. And, I was raising babies when they were doing their serious paint time. And it was kind of like, wow, I wish I could have some serious paint time. But I was kind of on the fringes hanging out with those ladies, and they were just so great and so professional in what they did. And eventually they opened a gallery up on 20th Street. I can't think of who had the one downtown. I'll think of it in a minute. But there have been several galleries before that really went into it on a professional level. And I think that just kind of wet the whistle for people who really felt like Farmington deserved nice art spaces down here with all the artists that were in the area. So, yeah.
And now we have a number of galleries.
We do.
We do. We have some good ones downtown, which is nice. We get a lot of support from our community as well. We have lots of shows across town, so it's not just in downtown Farmington.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've kind of made it a focal point in downtown, I think for a number of strategic reasons, but I'd like to see it expand. And there's going to be opportunities, I think, in public places for us to expand. I mean, if you just walk along the Riverwalk and you get down to the All Veterans Park, I mean, there's so much beautiful just artwork and sculpture and things there. The Riverwalk now also has, next to the Nature Center, there's an artist down there who's doing wood carvings, and that's really kicking off. So I see this kind of growing out of what you have all, really laid the foundations for. And just in downtown, I mean, here in front of me, I've got the Art in the Alley flyer that kind of shows where all these murals are scattered throughout the downtown area. And I think, Flo, you said the most recent one is the Navajo Code Talker.
Yes, and that was by Ironcloud, yes.
And that's located behind
HeART Gallery
HeART
in their
Gallery.
Pocket Park.
So, and all the artists, all the different artists who have lended their talents to this project is just incredible.
That's been a fun project, and I don't know if everyone knows that we started that before COVID.
It was in 2018.
And before
Yeah.
the renovation of our
Yes.
Main Street. And we tried to figure out how to keep the businesses alive downtown without everybody dying, just either from COVID or from no business. But Tom, my husband, and I had been to Denver, and I don't know if you've ever been to Denver during the huge beer festival up there, but this huge thing called Colorado Crush. And if you've been to Denver on Larimer Street, down through there, every time we would go visit our kids in Denver, the murals on the walls were phenomenal. And we kind of were driving either up or back and thought, maybe we should do something to divert traffic, like down the alley, like make them interesting down the alley. But who had ever thought about cleaning up our alleys for entrances to businesses? And so we put a committee together and called it Art in the Alley to see if we could get it together and put a focus on the alley entrances to these businesses during construction, which also kind of worked during COVID at the same time. And we had a meeting with as many artists as we could come up with, like that we knew also painted murals or knew someone who painted murals, and got them all on a list and to see if this was going to be possible. And then the Marion Family Foundation was gracious enough to make a large donation to support the artists and buy supplies, and they have kept the program going with their donation, which has just been fantastic. So we didn't have to worry about how we were going to pay a stipend to the artists or continue to buy art supplies for the artists. So that part has been terrific. So all the little Art in the Alley committee has had to do is find an artist per wall and go with it. Flo probably, she's picked it up since we started
well, first of all, you'll probably see on some of our web pages a picture of Bev Taylor slinging art over in the alleyway when we first started behind Orchard Park. So we continue to try to repaint that every year for the art walks. So that's always fun, the art sling. Do you remember that? And
we had to do something for the kickoff.
Yes, that was the kickoff event. And then what's really nice about the Art in the Alley is we get to use it in lots of ways. Whenever I write a grant, one of the things I like to do for Main Street, especially if I'm downtown, is try to encourage one business to want to come in with the grant so that we can put a mural in their backyard or somewhere in their area. So that way we continue to sustain this program, because the money that was funded was a while back, and so we want to sustain that program. So every time we write a grant, we try to include that in there. The other thing that we really enjoy about it is being able to connect back to our community. We offer Art in the Alley tours, and it's available through the website. They can register. I have done some for actually, I think last year we ended up over at Bev's at Artifacts, and she kind of finalized it a little bit. But we have done it for quite a few organizations, especially during
the
COVID.
municipal league, wasn't it?
Well, we didn't do the municipal league, but we
did have a little walk.
You did have a little
set
walk
up
out
in
that was
the Navajo
inside.
Museum.
Yes,
And
Yeah.
that was the front. And so whenever there's a meeting over at the Civic Center, the Arts Council offers the opportunity to get put on the agenda to give a tour, especially during the lunches when people are walking down, or if they're doing something with downtown. I think last year we ended up at Artifacts, so we did the tour this way and ended up at Artifacts, and then Bev was wonderful to finish that off for us. So it is an opportunity for us to highlight our local artists. We have sometimes emails from people that are traveling and asking, who did this painting and how can I get more paintings from this guy? Tommy King is one of the ones that's very always, and unfortunately he just passed away, and Ivan as well. There are two that have passed away that are still recognized in our
Ivan.
And it's sad, but we keep it up because that is the one at the Tota is the one always asked
amazing.
about. Everyone likes to get a picture in front of that,
Yeah.
and so that's the one I get most emails about.
what is it, Bev, about public art that you find so important? What is the motivation? And I mean, obviously it's a passion of yours, but
It is a passion of mine.
there's a broader component to it.
I don't think I thought much about it. Just growing up in Farmington. I mean, I was born here. Just growing up, I just hadn't really thought much about it till I had the opportunity to travel and to see, especially in Europe, where art is everywhere, and you think, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and why don't we have something like this? Even something as simple as a fountain. You know, just a fountain, outdoor fountain, public, people can congregate. I think Farmington has always been a little stifled because we don't have, our park downtown is so tiny. You know, it's not a big gathering place where you would have a nice fountain and some sculpture and, you know, a carousel for kids. I mean, those kind of things where you have a big gathering place downtown, like a town square. We don't really have a town square. But I just thought, you know, when people walk on the street, you want people to come to your business, you want them to enjoy being downtown. Well, what provides joy? Obviously the businesses, but just the walk downtown. You've all been to cities and towns that were just wonderful places to just enjoy outside, dining outside on in little cafes, you know, sit and have a coffee and watch the people. And so there's something about creating an ambiance to your downtown or to your town even that makes it enjoyable for people to be there.
Right.
And to visit, and because you like how you feel when you're there. So when we started this big renovation of our Main Street, I started to get pretty excited because I thought, okay, and I think I bent the mayor's ear one day. That's why it's kind of funny like that. I said, you know, we now have this beautiful Main Street. You know what has to happen next? And he said, I could see his eyes roll, but we need to have art on the street. And bless his little heart, he was not opposed to that. And
All right.
I love that he has been so supportive.
Very excited about
all
it.
my crazy ideas like that. And
Well, the public
There
art,
we
the
are.
sculpture art downtown, I mean, it is just it's too cool. I mean,
it is too cool.
And people know, I think we've talked a little bit about it here, that it's on a rotation. These are 1 year long stays, and they're all for sale. Every piece is for sale, and we would love for people to buy them because that encourages artists to submit art when we go out for, you know, requests for their proposals or their sculptures. And it's important for people to know too that there's a jurist who is not an elected official,
Right.
that is actually the one who selects the art that goes in that program. So we're coming up to the end of year 1, and I know we're in the process now for the next year of that. And how far are we in that process?
The submissions just closed.
Yes, they
for
closed.
the new
Yes.
batch.
Yes,
of
they got extended
entries.
a little bit, but there was
Yeah.
good response for it. And I think what's going to be exciting is having all new sculptures out here
Yes.
and downtown. And it's an opportunity for our community to also buy them. So the community had the opportunity, they all had favorite. So this time they had a chance to vote for their favorite. And I believe the city of Farmington will be purchasing one.
Well, I can't tie the council to that decision. I would like to see us
Yes.
purchase one. I think it would be important as partners and participants in this that we do that.
Try to do that.
And I have my favorite. There's a few really cool ones. They're all really cool, but
I have like 10 favorites.
yeah, right. And there's so many places, not just in downtown, but throughout the community where these large sculptures can go.
Yes.
And that's the part too, is seeing that grow, because that encourages people to get out into these public places. And like you said, I mean, it
Doesn't
creates
it give
an
you
ambience.
joy now to kind of walk down our downtown and see how beautiful it is?
Absolutely.
And then there's these little reflective spots where you can stop and look at the beautiful sculpture, and they're all so different. The artists are from all 4 corners, and they are different mediums. I mean, it's amazing. And I love, of course, we have the great big horned toad outside of Artifacts. I mean, I can't tell you how many times a day people are doing selfies with that giant horned toad
He
out
needs
there.
to stay there, Bev.
He's so
Yes.
Somebody needs to buy that
Awesome.
horn because he's pretty
So nice.
special.
Yeah, he does, Mayor.
The
I've
sun
talked
lion
to
is
another
popular.
tailor in the family about it.
Oh my goodness.
But it's just a feel-good thing, and as we try and get people to come downtown and stay downtown and enjoy downtown, and enjoy the walk downtown, not just let's go get some dinner, let's go, get a cup of coffee, but to enjoy your downtown, just the walk, if nothing else. Families should do the walk and look at each one of those sculptures before they leave, actually, if you haven't taken the time.
and walk
good
through
point.
the alley, and then walk through
And
the
then
alley.
go through the alley and
Yeah.
look at the mural art.
But what's down there now will be leaving soon.
It will be.
It will be.
Yeah.
In May, I
Yeah.
believe.
Will be replaced.
Yeah.
You talked about how public art really hits an emotional component in people, and it's beautification. It also has great economic components too. It
Oh,
helps
yes.
with tourism. People who are coming through Farmington. I mean, for years, people would tell me, "Well, the only time I go through Farmington is when I'm going to Durango," or "Yeah, I've passed through there on my way, wherever, but I've never really stopped." Well, we're creating a place that really demands people stop, and it becomes a destination. Oh, we have to go and check this out.
And they are, Mayor. I mean, I take I take a temperature of all my customers who come in and find out where they're from, why they're here, and
why they stopped.
And all of these things that we're doing, I think, are truly making a difference in people stopping and realizing that, oh my gosh.
And they're talking to other people.
Yeah.
Because when I was at the Farmington Public Library, of course, Bev and Tom have another interest in that with the doors, the doors that are in the children's room. That is sculpture. There's also the outdoor sculptures that are there. So
well, the library is a piece of art anyway.
It is.
It's such an
The library
incredible
It
piece
is
of art.
amazing.
Yeah.
And
Totally
so
amazing.
I've known people that have come just because they wanted to see the doors. The doors.
The doors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And the library gives a tour of our doors,
We sure do.
which is kind of cool.
And we have the story that Connie Gotch put on KSJE about the doors, which is really cool too.
Cool.
It's really nice.
She was such an advocate for the
She
arts
was
also.
actually she was, and
Such a great
in our
friend,
community.
too.
I think what's important about Farmington and what we're doing, and with the Arts Council, is we are a partner with the City of Farmington to help establish it into an arts and cultural district with New Mexico
Yeah.
Main Street. And so we would like to be right up there with the other main streets, with Santa Fe, with Albuquerque, with Taos, with Silver City, with Gallup. I mean, we're just as good, and our art is just as good. It takes us a little time. There's a lot of work to do, and I think we are on our way, and so it's looking good.
Well, I think we've done a really good job in the community support behind the renovation of Main Street, which I keep thinking about the fact that we're in 2024 now. And just how long that year was when we, and it was in the year of COVID
Painful
that we
year.
did that. It was a really painful year.
Yes.
But we're years beyond it now, and it's really, for me, it's kind of cool to think that we're here really at the beginning of something. And there were early iterations of some of these things, but man, we're right now where I think we're going to start seeing this really grow and really take off. The Tota Theater component, which I think we have this great new event, these nightly events for, I don't know if I guess it'd be monthly.
We've got date night coming up.
Date night coming up.
Yes.
So
Date night with the Tota,
March-
old movie at the Tota.
is it March 1st?
I
March
think
2nd.
It's the first Friday,
First Friday of March.
which is, I think,
Date night, we're going to show Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore and The Wedding Singer at Tota. There's going to be, what else is going to be?
walking over to the Navajo Museum as
Navajo
well.
Museum.
Navajo Museum, food
And,
down there.
And hopefully they will really just enjoy that and start making it a date every month.
And make sure they go see the sculptures before they leave.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But trying to establish Farmington as an arts and cultural district has also been kind of a painful journey. But I think there are only 11 communities in the state. That number may be wrong, I'm not sure. But it's a state-sponsored,
And it's
state-backed-
accreditation,
Mhm.
yeah.
And it's validation. It's validation that your community is an arts community, an arts and cultural community. And so they put us on a loop, on a trail with all these other communities and publicize that, and we can use that as
We benefit
validation.
from it,
Yes.
absolutely.
And for us to be able to wear that sign on our chest that says we are an arts and cultural district in New Mexico, when that puts us up there with Santa Fe and Albuquerque and Taos and Silver City and Gallup and all of these other communities that are known arts and cultural communities, for us to be included in that really puts us in the spotlight too. And that's still worth pursuing. We're working on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have lots of meetings with the Economic Development, which is Karen Lupton, who spearheads that with our meetings, and Warren Unsicker as well. I mean, they've done a wonderful job. This is a whole community's effort. It really is. And what's really nice about it is what it will bring back into Farmington. The arts is one of the economic drivers of economic development, so it's nice. There are some people who travel just looking for arts and cultural districts. There are people who come just looking for art galleries, and I think Bev knows that. There's people that come in looking for the arts, looking for productions, for plays, for cultural events. We get a lot of those. We host a lot of cultural events over at the Tota. We usually provide a residency with one of our local schools. We just did it with Navajo Prep, and they helped us publish the first Navajo zine with the students, which is went all the way to the Smithsonian Indian Museum out there. So it's really nice, and we have these kids recognized throughout the state, and they are our future. They're the sustainability of the arts.
When we were first working on this, we had to make a list, or I think there was a questionnaire that was passed around, like name all the arts and cultural events in your community. When you stop and think about that, it was pages.
Yeah.
It was pages when you include the schools, the college,
The
the
library,
community,
museums,
the library,
community centers.
yeah.
Quite a bit.
There was
The symphony.
so much. All the music stuff. Think of just all the musical groups, not related to schools.
Yeah.
I mean, it was phenomenal.
The Arts Council created with Michael Bullock a guide called the Handmade Guide to the Four Corners, actually for Farmington, and we included in there over 200 artists. And so we actually have about 287 local artists and artisans that are registered with us in the Arts Council. And one of the things we are going to do by the end of next year is resurrect that handmade, but it's going to be in the brochure. And so this is something that we hope to take not only to the legislature, but also provide in a lot of hotels across the state. So that's something we're working on. It's a grant that we wrote. So
That's
I'm
great.
excited about it. When I was putting it together, I thought, oh my goodness, I cannot believe how many artists we have in our community. So it's
When I
pretty
first
awesome.
opened my studios, not the gallery, but the studios, to my husband's chagrin, he said, "You really think you can find 10 artists to rent 10 studios?" I said, I'm pretty sure. And so I did. And he's really happy now that I found those 10 artists. But I had 10 artist friends, you know, that was easy peasy. But then to open a gallery and start representing other artists, I could not believe the number of artists that started coming in and saying, well, yeah, I work in my garage, or I work in my basement, or I work in my spare bedroom, or I work on my kitchen table. I do this on my kitchen table. And I'm going, oh my gosh, these people need studios so badly, you know. So trying to bring art to the forefront and the process of making art to the forefront to people, that's always been my mission down at Artifacts. You guys know that. But I want it to be accessible to people. I want them to be able to talk to the artist and say, oh my gosh, I love that color, or why did you do that, or, you know, is that for sale? I can't tell you, Marilyn Taylor, one of my artists down at the gallery, doesn't even finish a painting on her easel before it's sold, because people come and say, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous, put my name on that painting. And that just makes her day, makes my day, makes me feel good that she's accessible that way, and people could walk in and talk to the artist and buy a painting. You walked in and bought one
Last
from
week. Well,
Karen.
now it'd be
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, but yeah.
Yeah, and you talked to the artist. It wasn't finished, but the mayor did the same thing. So thank you, Mayor, for supporting the artists.
Well, I'll tell you, in my office at City Hall, my grandmother was a painter, and she painted this very large, beautiful picture of Shiprock, and that's it's right over my desk. I mean,
Cool.
it's so beautiful. And my wife's uncle from Mancus was a sand painter, and he would do so I have a City of Farmington seal that's a sand painting, and I have a State of New Mexico seal that's a sand painting, and
Nice.
they're fantastic, and I love art. And it's exciting to be here with you all and all the work that you're doing, and you put a lot of work into this.
Well, I think you have too. You have too.
You've been
I just
very
get the
supportive,
champion.
Mayor.
I just want
We
to be
need
the
to pat
cheerleader.
you on the back for
No.
You
Yeah.
have too. And I think you've inspired, because I saw before our city councilman Sean got off of the council, he started painting.
Yeah.
And so I thought, that's very cool. I invited him to come to our art walks.
I was going to mention one more thing that's coming up. The month of March, I think this may be our 8th or 9th year, 10th year. Gosh, I've lost track of time. Sorry, folks. But we will again be hosting the area high school student art show.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we usually have between 8 to 10 high schools represented. The teachers come and they bring the work from the students, and we will end up with probably 300 pieces of art from local students. And the first year we did this, we said, well, all the art has to be for sale. And they went, what? But I don't want to sell this. And I said to the teachers, it's important that the students understand what a gallery does. You know, a gallery makes money not only for themselves so they can keep the lights on and have a pretty place to show art, but we're supporting the artists with real money, you know. And so we want people to buy the art. It's not like a museum where you just go look at it. You have to be able to buy it. And so we insist that every piece be for sale. So I have a couple of stories about it. Some little gal years down the road just did a fantastic piece but didn't want to sell it. So we said, put a high price on it, you know. Artists do that all the time, but it has to be for sale. So you put a high price on it. You know, nobody will buy it, but it has a price on it. So she put like $500 on it. And, sorry, it sold. She didn't know it until the teacher was passing out the money in the classroom, and the girl got her check for $500, and she literally cried because she had no idea that somebody would buy it. I mean, she valued it and she didn't want to sell it, but she could not believe that somebody would buy that. And so all of a sudden the kids were putting price tags, good price tags, on their art because, oh my gosh, she sold hers for $500. So even if it's some of the little 3x3s,
Yes.
I mean, they have to be more than 5 cents. Come on, kids. But last year, I think we sold 80 pieces of art
Wow.
for the kids.
Good.
We
That's great.
sell at least that many every year. So watch for that coming up in March, and come and support those kids
Yes.
by buying some of their pieces of art.
They're really beautiful too.
Oh, they're amazing. They're
Very
really
colorful.
amazing.
So I want to jump into an event that I want to push here, and this is the Makers Market
Yes.
that
Yeah.
Flo is
You know,
taking on.
I really like the Makers Market. It was started right before COVID as well, and of course it took a little hiatus for those years, but it came back pretty strong. We actually had some people over at our market, and the reason we like to have it is we want to inspire them to be able to start a business. And I know Tara came down and tried her bakery items over at the market before opening up the bakery shop. Camilla from Navajo Soaps used to sit up at our tables as well. And then now she has a business downtown. Belisana is another one. So now they have businesses downtown. So I use those as examples.
Those are great
And
examples.
I'm hoping to try to fill up all those empty slots downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, this runs from June 6th to September 26th, 3 p.m. to dusk at Orchard Park. And it's everything from edible to repurposed is what the
Handmade
slogan
collectibles,
says.
antiques.
Fresh produce, homemade baked goods, jams and jellies, handmade leather goods, art, handmade and repurposed items, antiques, collectibles, music, and fun. So make sure you're checking that out. You can go to your website, which is the nwNMAC1@gmail.com,
Yes.
if you would like to register to be a part of the Makers
Is it
Market.
Thursdays still?
It's Thursdays.
Thursdays.
And then we host one when we have the art walk, so we do it on
Yeah.
Friday before. What's really nice about the Makers Market is we do provide also an opportunity for nonprofits and also for our youth to come and sell. So I want them to learn how to about money. I think it's important for them to
very
understand how the value of art or of what they're making also is important. We are going to have a youth art fair at our first one. That will be, well, actually on June 6th, but we will kick it off with our art fair with our art walk. So
We
it's going to
also-
blend into it.
Yeah, sorry. We also get a lot of people in the gallery wanting to know how to get into the gallery. And they might not be quite ready for prime time. So I send them to
Yes.
Flo
Yes.
because there are so many opportunities for them to keep making art and selling art in all these little events like Makers Market and like the downtown art walks where she puts artists in the businesses. So there are a lot of opportunities for budding artists
Yes.
to exhibit
Yes.
and hopefully sell.
And thank you so much for mentioning that because right now we are in recruitment stages. I do have 25 businesses downtown that are going to accept artists, which is really nice. And right now we have about 75 artists, and usually by the time we finish, it's 125. A lot of them will be outside. They like to set up at Orchard Park as well, and outside of the businesses as well. So they're not just inside of the business. Some of them like to be outside, which is nice, especially in April when we do our kickoff on April 5th.
So yeah, I do have that here. The Farmington Downtown Art Walk is Friday, April 5th from 4 to 6 p.m., but it's also the kickoff to Kids Art Market, is that correct? Youth vendors set up and are free to sell.
Yes.
Early childhood organizations can set up a resource table, but please have a free art activity. and then free hands-on STEM and art activities. So
Yes, and a
make
lot
sure
of this
they
is
check that
and a
out.
lot of this is in conjunction with the Week of the Young Child, which is an early childhood initiative that we partner with 100% San Juan County and also with the Navajo Nation. So we feel it's important to include our early kids in there, and if we can have them set up and come and do art and come and enjoy downtown. One of the things I find is when I bring kids, we bring their families, which is really nice.
You know, just looking at this is the flyer for the April 5th.
That's
Art
our
Walk.
rough draft
Rough
right
draft.
now, yes.
But just to see the number of businesses and kind of who, I'm guessing these artists are going to be,
Yes,
this
are
is
in
what
the
will be
businesses.
displayed there.
Yes.
That's a lot of businesses. You said
Yeah.
25?
There's, yes, 25 businesses, and right now I have 75 artists. But I check if you want to be part of it, you can get on our website. There is a Google form that you fill out for all of the art walks. And so that makes it easier for me, so then I can just place them once we get started on it. And that's how I can tell how many register for it. The most I've had is probably 167 by the end of the year that registered, try to put them somewhere. And that was hard during Small Business Saturday because you can't put them outside. So.
It's just
But
interesting to
it's
read the
fun.
different businesses and how many of them are
Isn't it
actually
wonderful?
affiliated with the arts in some way. I mean, even if it, you know, I love Browns.
Brown shoe.
Brown shoes. Shoes are style.
Just for
That's
one night
art.
a month, or four nights.
The chili pot.
Yeah.
Chili pot.
Yeah.
That's
to,
right.
to just have new art in there.
Yeah.
And
Monica's an artist
recognizable.
too. Monica did all of her own tables in there.
Yeah.
The paint on the walls.
Yeah.
She did her own Ristra, the silver
Yeah,
Ristra.
that's great.
So much
And they
talent.
host our artists in their building as well, which is nice.
Yeah, this is awesome. So that kicks off on April 5th, 5
April
to 8
5th.
p.m.
Yes.
downtown.
Yes.
And go
And
ahead.
we will have 3 others that are scheduled. Another one is going to be in June, and the other one is in October, which is the kickoff for the Southwest Apple and Chili Fest.
Yeah.
And there's always music associated
yes.
with the art walks
Yes.
also.
What's nice about the art walks and also for the Makers Market is we always have music. The market only has music the first Thursday, and we also host, which is really nice, the Harvest Food Hub from the college that comes down to our market, and that's a really good addition because we are one of the partners for the Northwest New Mexico Alliance. So we're one of 6 markets in our community in Southwest, actually San Juan County.
Flo, you got your hands in everything. love
Well,
it.
you know what's really cool is they let me.
Yeah.
Because you're so good at it, Flo. You're just great at what you do.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
com-
You're such
Completely
a community person, and she knows how to get stuff done.
Always been
That's
so
what's awesome.
so positive, Flo. You are always have been a motivating factor for me. You just thank you for everything
Gosh,
you do.
well.
Yes. So I do want to make sure folks know we have gone out for a grant to do a complete renovation of Orchard Park.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Congratulations on it too.
Well, I'm very interested to kind of get some conceptual ideas of what we want to have there. Would love feedback on that, and I'm sure we'll have public meetings.
Oh,
We always do
yes.
when it comes to parks if we're going to be doing changes and things like that. So,
Cool.
yeah, I hope you got some ideas.
Well, I like the carousel that you mentioned.
You said
but-
the carousel, and I was all,
wasn't that just that just opened my eyes a little bit? I thought I didn't know it was possible.
and you think about, our civic center. We created that
yes.
space out front as
Oh,
a plaza
fabulous.
area.
Yeah.
We don't have a town square, but that's a pretty big space, and I see a lot of opportunity there for us to capitalize on that.
And you bring the ice rink in too, which is really nice, skating rink.
We used to.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was a good thing. Well, maybe now would be a good time to try it out because we are going to be hosting the Jazz Festival. Of course,
Yes.
I've been trying to put out as many flyers as I can because Telluride's putting out theirs too. So I thought maybe we can kind of piggyback on theirs.
There are a lot of jazz enthusiasts.
Yeah, maybe you could
I'll
stop
tell
by
you.
here and then head out to Telluride.
Yeah.
Our Jazz Festival is going to be on Saturday, April 13th. We're going to kick it off with a workshop over at Inspired Moments, and then we're going to head out to Orchard Park. Now, we're not sure how the rain is going to be, so we have a backup plan
Okay.
to be at Inspired Moments, because you never know Farmington.
Sure.
Right.
It'll be
No,
beautiful,
that
and then
time
all
of
of a sudden the rain comes, or the snow.
Or wind.
Well, jazz always reminds me of the fact that we have some world-class artists here
do.
in this area, and
You do.
I love the work that's being done.
Oh, I am just over the moon with Delbert Anderson and
Delbert
his
is
trio,
doing great.
because they are internationally known, and actually he's going to be our headliner. And we have some indigenous jazz musicians as well that are always traveling with him that are going to be coming, so that's really another kick, which is nice. And then we have some local students who always play at the college. We have a jazz jam that continues through the summer on Wednesdays, and there's a lot of people that come and enjoy that. And our students who are musicians up at the college and in high school and middle school will bring their instruments and just start jamming. What I really like about it is I start listening from the beginning, and this is funny. You know, the musicians are playing and everyone's doing great, and then the students come in and they're all trying to teach each other when to stop, because that's
how to stop.
Yes,
Right.
they're playing and then they do something, and there's still somebody
playing.
They're like, oops. So it's kind of neat to see that little progress. So the third hour, which is made up of young students, and last year all high school students, will be opening the act here at the Jazz Festival, and they've really done very well. And when they first started, they were all trying to work together to come up with something, and now they're just jamming along. And so I like that music is part of it. I've always said with STEM, as a library advisor, a STEAM Equity Library Advisor, one of the reasons they picked me up was I mentioned that STEM is not only STEM, it's also an entrepreneurship. So when you add the E, put another little 2 over it, and then add the A. But then in music, whenever I do my presentations, when I do STEM, I said M is always for something different. It's not just math. You need math to do music. I said, so put another 2 over that. So that's why I'm so happy that we can get to do the Jazz Festival. And we want to try to do this annually, so let's see if it works out.
No, I think it's a great idea. We have the film festival coming back as well.
Yes.
So we can just try to celebrate all those things that.
And if people say that there's nothing to do in Farmington,
Oh,
I
man.
just want to beat them up in the alley. I think, really? Like, open your eyes and look at the list.
If you just go to the farmingtonnm.org website, I mean, it's
Yeah.
endless amounts of
so
things going on
much
every
going
week.
on.
The Convention and Visitor Bureau is wonderful for listing all the events.
Yeah.
And it's just, and so is, you know, our local papers, both the Daily Times and also the Tri-City both have a calendar in there that we use. So it's really nice to be able to get the word out to Durango and some of the other people that are traveling through.
Yeah.
That's why I want to try to bring some people from Telluride down here before they get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Bev and Flo, thank you for being here. Is there any other? We could probably talk about art all day long.
We probably could.
We could bring friends over and we could
I could
paint.
bring my watercolors. I could teach you how to paint.
We could paint.
Yeah.
I would love to do
we
that.
could do that too.
Um,
Oh, one little
that's
thing
wonderful.
that we're doing at Artifacts on Saturday mornings, I started it in September, is called Be Inspired. Because I just had this little goal of trying to make people smarter. I don't know why. Not only, you know, to teach them about art, but just to make them smarter in little snippets of information. And so I just started this on Saturday morning. I had to figure out where to plug it in, where we had a lot of people. And it's like mini TED Talks.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm just inviting people to come and talk about something that they can just talk easily about. A hobby or their job or whatever. My husband's an amateur astronomer, so he talked about the eclipse the week before we had the eclipse. And then the week of the eclipse, we gave everybody a pair of glasses so they could go out and watch the eclipse. I've had several of my artists talk about what they do, like Chris Cook talked about how you do a pastel painting, or how you do a plein air painting, what is a plein air painting, or Janice Giacchino came and talked about what it takes to be a city councilman, council person. Virginia Nichols talked about her trek to Mount Everest Base Camp. We've had someone talk about how to save bees and what to plant for bees. So they're all a total
great.
random assortment of things, but it's only a little half-hour presentation, a little Q&A. on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock, and you just come and just learn a little bit of stuff. And
That's great.
it's been real fun addition to whatever else is going on Saturday morning at Artifacts, which is a lot.
That's a busy place on Saturday
And it
morning.
doesn't just stay in Farmington. I go to Albuquerque or I go to Santa Fe. Bev connected me with Creative New Mexico as a nomination to be in there. And one of the things they're always talking about is artifacts, and what a beautiful building that is, and how it could be modeled everywhere. And they asked me if there's anything else in downtown Farmington. I said, oh, you'll have to come see. There's a few things.
Yeah.
So thank you for the
Someday I'm
inspiration.
going to have a Fezziwigs Christmas party in Artifacts with the fiddler and everything there.
Well, the community has been so supportive of our business. I mean, I will never, ever fail to thank the community, because without people coming in the door, we would just be a big old building. But Tom and I also received the Governor's Award for Excellence in the Arts for the renovation of our building and turning it into an arts community, basically, is what we've done. But I say we couldn't have done it without support from everybody. I mean, when you do a business plan and say, well, who's your target market? And you go, well, anybody who drinks like coffee or eats a cookie or likes art or wants to have a party. I mean, we cover the whole gamut down there, but it is a community. I feel like it's a community-based art center, and we love all of our people who come in and support us, and the mayor's a fan, and we love him to come in and say hey too. So.
Well, you have your regulars. A lot of people. I go in there on Saturday mornings, and everyone's rushing in for the cinnamon rolls, but they have the regulars in there
and
too.
And they have their tables. It's like Sunday morning church. It's like you can't sit there because that's the Game Boys table. I mean, that's where they play their game. Or this is the knitters, or these are the crocheters, or this is the Bible study group. I mean, we've got so many groups that meet down there, and we just love it.
Hopefully you're the model now for what we want to do downtown Main Street, because there's so many, like even the HeART Gallery and HeART Gallery and Inspired Moments, and even the Lock Street Eats. I mean, all of these new places that are available are going to be inspired with what you're doing.
And they all have their own following, but the point is that people are gathering downtown, and they're enjoying their downtown. They learn to love their downtown. They eat, work, play downtown.
The heart of downtown
I know, and
Main
that's
Street,
what the whole point is. So.
Perfect.
Yay, Farmington.
Yay, Farmington.
The art in the heart.
Farmington.
There you go.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much
thank
for
you.
the time to let us talk about the arts.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this show. I just a lot of information, and I love the fact that you're energizing people's life.
Good.
You're jolting their journey.
And the whole history is here.
Through the arts.
Jolts your journey, yes.
Yes.
And we have a mural on that, by the
We
way.
sure do. I know the artist very well. Yeah. Well, thank you both very much, and we'll look forward to having you back on the show. And obviously, we'll see you in downtown at these events and all over town, probably.
Come see us.
at different things. So,
Come
thank
visit.
you all for tuning in today. We appreciate your support of these initiatives here in our city to kind of grow our outreach, grow our efforts to be a beautiful and attractive place, and specifically on today's show, a place for the arts and the artists. So, yay. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time on the Mayor's Table.